Well, let's begin here. The DA's Tania Campbell has bounced back as the Ekurhuleni Metro Executive Mayor. This follows a special council meeting in which voting took place. Campbell won by 124 votes against the ANC's Dlabathi, who got 99 votes. Well, Campbell was ousted through an ANC-sponsored motion of no confidence more than 2 weeks ago. Earlier, the EFF withdrew its mayoral candidate, leaving Campbell to face the ANC's Jongizizwe. Following the EFF's withdrawal, the ANC called for an emergency caucus. The Metro had been without a leader for over 2 weeks following Campbell's removal through an ANC-sponsored motion of no confidence. All right, let's unpack this then. We are now joined then on via Zoom by Dr Levy Ndou to talk to us about this council meeting, which saw Tania Campbell being re-elected. Then a very good afternoon to you, Dr Ndou. It's always a pleasure to see you.
Good afternoon to you. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. Thank you for having me today.
You're most welcome. EFF pulling out their candidate and essentially making a clear path there for Tania Campbell to be reinstated. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, it did not come as a surprise at all. Political parties in their own nature are in competition, and political parties would always be jealous about each other. And if you look at the history of the EFF and the ANC, it is well known that there is, on numerous occasions, the EFF has not been in support of the ANC to govern. And there were statements that have been made in the past, wherein the EFF will make it clear that they will not be in support of the ANC's rule. But equally, they've also made pronouncements that if the ANC is able to meet some of its demands, they can then be able to join hands with the ANC. It's a repetition of what happened in other metros where the EFF will rather decide not to vote or support the Democratic Alliance against the ANC. So this never came as a surprise to me. But to take it further, it's a clear indication that as long as political parties don't find ways and means to agree, we might not see any other form of coalition getting stronger and stronger.
Yeah. And I mean, as you know, we're speaking about the issue of repetition. Of course, we did see this happening in Johannesburg, as you rightly say. And one of the concerns has been, it's so much time, so much money, so much resources yet, spent on unseating and these reinstatements, while the people on the ground, are supposed to just sort of wait in limbo while there's this, I guess you can call it a fight for positions. What do you make of this? I mean, as I read some of the comments, some people saying, what's the difference? Those living in Ekurhuleni saying Ekurhuleni is essentially a mess right now.
We have a history in which our politicians would spend a lot of money and time on motions of no confidence. Let us look at the national government in the previous administration. In the previous administration since a few years, you have had a situation where former President Jacob Zuma has had numerous motions of no confidence proposed against him. And just a sitting for a motion of no confidence to be discussed, they spend a lot of resources, they spend a lot of time, and of course, a lot of energy is being directed into these motions of no confidence. Let us look at what has happened in Nelson Mandela Bay a few months ago. There was a motion of no confidence on the mayor. Johannesburg, it has been the case. Now the case of Ekurhuleni, and there is a talk of a motion of no confidence that might take place in the city of Tshwane. That tells you that immediately after elections, politicians have got a lot of time to spend on fighting for positions, on proposing motions of no confidence that does not take citizens anywhere. And even though these motions are proposed, what we therefore observe, as you earlier said, in terms of progress in some of these areas, do not have anything to show off of these motions of no confidence. But equally, Flo, this situation should also give us a lesson as South African citizens and politicians themselves to say something has to be done to prevent unnecessary motions of no confidence. Something should be done to redirect the energy of politicians not to just discuss motions of no confidence and fight over positions, so that these politicians are able to focus on things that are quite important and beneficial to the ordinary citizens, which is not the case right now.
You know, you touched on it briefly when I asked for your reaction initially, but, you know, the now reinstated Mayor Tania Campbell has said that, you know, after the fact, of course, while speaking to the media, saying that there will be a meeting with the EFF to find out what issues they may have, you know, with how Ekurhuleni is run, and adding that she's grateful for their support. Given the history of these coalitions and these short-term, I'll call honeymoon phases that we often see between the parties. Do you think that this will be long-lasting, or will we essentially see ourselves back again in the courts and again seeing motions of no confidence yet again?
One of the challenges that has been identified in the coalition politics in South Africa is the inability of the coalition leaders to manage the coalition in a manner that it becomes efficient. And I think the DA might have learned a lesson from the city of Johannesburg and now Ekurhuleni. My expectation is that the Democratic Alliance should find ways and means to be able to run a coalition in a manner that coalition partners are satisfied with how things are done, and ensure that they include or accommodate these coalition partners, especially in decision making. But equally, my expectation is that coalition partners should also avoid making unrealistic demands to their coalition partners, because that appears to be the source of conflict in these coalitions. And there is one reality that we need to face as all South Africans. Even though you are invited to be part of a coalition with few seats, with one or only 3 seats, you also need to always bear into mind that if you have to pull down the entire coalition because of a seat that you have, it becomes quite unfair to the ordinary citizens that you're supposed to serve.
All right, Dr. Ndou, thank you as always for weighing in. We appreciate your time, sir.
You're always welcome. Thank you.
All right, that is Dr. Levy Ndou weighing in, of course, on and unpacking the developments there at Ekurhuleni Special Council meeting that saw the DA's Tania Campbell being re-elected as mayor following her ousting that was 2 weeks ago.